Welcome back to the channel, peeps. This will be the last video I upload before Christmas. For those of you that celebrate it, happy holidays. Today we are taking a look at a Warlock build that, without Artefact Perks, it would be a little bit underwhelming, but the Solar specific perks turn it into one of the most powerful Solar Warlock builds this season, enabling it to dish out large amounts of damage to bosses and champions in the highest of content, an Ignition and Aerial Combat Specialist with fast melee regeneration. This build is more suited for solo play as it does not rely on Well of Radiance, but it can still be very useful in endgame activities. I plan to use this build for my Warlock solo flawless Warlord's Ruin run. It's that good. Drop a like and sub if you do find this video informative at all. Let's begin. The gameplay loop is as follows. Get Radiant to proc with the Flint Striker artifact perk. Incandescent rolled weapons spread Scorch, with ignitions caused by the Ray of Precision's perk also spreading Scorch. Enabling chain ignitions that wipe mobs of adds out, taking advantage of the Dawn Chorus exotic helmet, which improves Scorch capabilities. Utilizing the aspect combo of Icarus Dash and Heat Rises, you'll have consistent melee energy, and meleeing a champion or boss weakens them thanks to Revitalizing Blast. Following up with Dragon's Breath and Burst Fusion DPS, the damage wipes them out very quickly, not to mention the Dawnblade buff that Chorus grants. To top it off, it can stun all 3 champion types. This is just the TLDR, so we will break this down further on in this video. Just a heads up, a dim link will be in the description. There is a lot going on here, so we'll start with the artifact perks. First up, Flint Striker. Getting rapid precision hits or solar kills grants Radiant. With a solar bow, this can be achieved with 2 consecutive precision hits. More about the bow in the weapon section. Kindling Trigger. When Radiant scorches targets on solar weapon damage, whilst Revitalizing Blast weakens champions and bosses when doing damage with abilities. In this case, grenades, melee and Dawnblade. Finally, Razor Precision. When Radiant and getting a solar precision kill, it ignites targets. Using a solar bow works wonders with these artifact perks for this build. Next is the exotic helmet, Dawn Chorus. This exotic grants a 200% damage increase to all Scorch damage, and Protect grants 5% melee energy, allowing for high melee uptime, which is the key components of weakening bosses thanks to Revitalizing Blast. It also grants Dawnblade a massive 90% damage buff per hit, and ignites targets after 2 hits for even more damage, and also weakens the bosses, making it very viable for DPS option. The Solar build comes next. Grenades will get consumed by Heat Rises, which upon activating grants aerial bonuses when gliding, including melee energy regeneration on aerial kills. When paired with Icarus Dash, multi-kills in midair cure you. A lot of this build focuses on being airborne, so Phoenix Dive gives the build some extra survivability if you're getting hammered whilst in the air. The grenade itself, go for the highest scorching grenade, being the Incendiary Grenade, and for melee, Celestial Fire for distance meleeing champions or bosses, weakening them at a safe distance. The ignition this build produces can come from multiple sources. We already mentioned Razor Precision, and when combining the Ember of Char and Ashes Fragments, ignition spreads Scorch to targets caught within the blast radius, with the Scorch stacks gaining a buff. Slotting Eruption enlarges the blast radius of the ignitions, and finally, Empyrean increases the radiant duration on solar kills, which is activated by Flint Striker. This enables the build to cause chain ignitions thanks to Ashes, and in high-end content where adds are tougher to kill, the ignitions are beautiful, making it a very strong mob clearer. Before we take a pass at the weapons and mods, consider dropping a like if you're enjoying this video. Your viewership is much appreciated. The primary weapon of this build goes to the Solar Bow Strident Whistle. Obtainable from Vanguard engrams, it can roll incandescent. Getting kills on adds scorches those around them, and with Razor Precision, aiming for the crit spot will guarantee an ignition kill. If the ignition doesn't wipe surrounding adds out, the Scorch spreads from that ignition will ignite them also. This bow also receives a 25% damage buff in endgame content thanks to the Unstoppable Bow artifact perk, making it hit hard in endgame activities and one of the many ways to stun unstoppable champions. For the kinetic slot, a fusion rifle that I will be reviewing next on the channel, Scatter Signal. For this build, the Overflow Control Burst combination does insane amounts of damage in a very short space of time, and is probably one of the best special weapons for DPS this season. It can also be used to stun barrier champions when Radiant. Finally, Dragon's Breath. It takes full advantage of the Dawn Chorus Scorch buff and the 80% damage increase that the Overload Rocket Launcher artifact perk grants against Overload champions, stunning them and causing insane amounts of damage, especially when weakened by your melee ability. Weakening with Celestial Fire, firing a rocket, and then following up with the Fusion Rifle burst damage deletes champions in an instant. For stats, you want to go for Resilience and Grenade Energy for survivability, especially when in midair, and to be able to keep that Heat Rises going. If you can, get some Intellect in there too, as Dawnblade does massive damage with this setup. For mods, Heavy Handed and Solar Siphon will generate orbs of power, which feed into the recuperation and innovation mods for health and grenade gains respectively. Hands-on grants super energy on melee kills, whilst using Phoenix Dive, near combatants will generate super energy thanks to the Dynamo mod, and pick up nearby orbs thanks to powerful attraction. This build has me absolutely hooked on Warlock at the moment. As a hunter main, I feel like I'm cheating. Try this out for yourself, you won't regret it. That's it for this video. Made it to the end? Slap that like button if so. We will be reviewing Scatter Signal next, and a Titan build is also due. Merry Christmas to those of you celebrating, and I will catch you in next week's video. This was Plasma Alchemist. Your viewership is much appreciated. Until next time, see ya later.
Fight forever, Guardian!